सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Hari Om. Namaskaram to everyone. Can you switch off those fans, please? The draft is coming into the mic. You can hear me clearly behind?
Yes.
Am I audible, sir? Now am I audible? Hello? Now? Now better? Okay. Can you increase the bass? And there's an echo. Reduce the echo, please. Hello? Now better? Okay, right. There's a famous introductory textbook to the Gita, the Dhyana Shlokas. The second verse of Dhyana Shlokas, we pay salutations to the great Vyasa, who is the author of the text. नमोस्तु ते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे फुल्लार विंदायत पत्र नेत्र येन त्वया भारत तैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमय प्रदीपः. The verse says how the great Vyasa was different from other gurus. Every other guru gave out the knowledge, profound knowledge. But what Vyasa did, instead of just giving out knowledge, he lit the lamp of wisdom in you, he says. That was the greatness of the great Vyasa. So in our salutations to the Guru, we are praising the great caliber of great Vyasa. He lit that lamp of wisdom in you. So humbly trying to follow his footsteps. The whole objective in this classroom is, if I can light that lamp of wisdom in you all, ignite that wisdom within you all, I've done my job. And that's not possible by merely transmitting information. That's not possible by merely transference of knowledge. The way you impart that knowledge, the very process plays a very important role in bringing about that wisdom. And if you look at it from this perspective, it will strike you so hard. The knowledge that we are learning from any text, the knowledge is the raw material. It's like you buy the vegetables and the groceries and the pulses They're all raw materials. You don't eat the raw vegetables, you don't eat the dry pulses uncooked. The lady in the kitchen diligently puts all them together and prepares a sumptuous dish, and we enjoy the dish. So the raw material, when it's processed, you cut the fruits, you boil the pulses, you put the ingredients in the right proportion, and then you cook it in the right temperature and so on. Then there's a preparation of a wholesome dish. The end product is the dish which is consumable. Similarly, the wisdom is the end product. The knowledge is just the raw material. But if you approach the knowledge, if you reflect on the knowledge, if you churn the knowledge, there arises that wisdom. And the wisdom is the end product. So don't be merely content with information. You must search for that wisdom. So yesterday, just for the benefit of those who are coming today for the first time, we learned the famous Ishavasya Upanishad, which said you must kurvanneveha karmani jijivishe shatagu samaha. I see more fans making noise. Is it required? You all need it? It's okay? Right, okay. The Shastras say you must live 100 years and live a life of 100 years performing actions which don't incur any sin, something which you don't have to deal with, something you don't have to, the consequences, the karma phala. And the Shastra, he who casts aside the scriptural ordinance and acts on the impulse of desire, for him there is no siddhim, there is no success in this world, there is no sukham, happiness in the world, nor is there param gatim, nor can you think of aspiring the highest. So if you want to live, if you want to ensure your sojourn in this world is blissful and blessed, you must tasmat shastram. The scriptures are your authority. They become your authority in what ought to be done, what ought not to be done. So we extensively quoted the Shastras where they lay so much importance or emphasis on karma, action, action, action. Inaction is death. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi. None can remain inactive even for a moment. You choose to be inactive, inaction is death. So we led ourselves to this point where we said we will look into the various flavors, how the glory of action. Why isn't there so much of unnecessary sound as well? Are you all okay? Okay. So the first, I feel a lot of echo. It is disturbing me. I'm sorry. Can you call him? So the first aspect that we will plunge right away into is the field of activity. What is the field of activity that you should choose? every human being, in fact, every being for that matter, is born because it has certain vasanas. We took a mention of the word vasanas yesterday. Every being is born because it has those vasanas. And the vasanas that you are born with are actually a product of your own past actions. The purva karma, the purva janma, you have performed some actions. The result of those actions are you are left with those vasanas, and the vasanas which manifest result in this embodiment. So you and I are born with one primary purpose. And what's that primary purpose? To exhaust these vasanas. There's no other purpose. So, what is this vasana? Anybody has an idea what a vasana is? Obviously, the students who are engaged in the study with me should hold back rather give the opportunity to others to give it a chance, and then later on you also can open up. Every human is born with a purpose to exhaust his vasana. What is a vasana? Samskaras, as they say in Sanskrit. Samskara in English is vasana. In fact, the word vasana also is derived from a Sanskrit root vas. Vas means fragrance. So, vasanas gives the fragrance of your personality. What kind of a person are you? I must smell you. Then I know vasana, what fragrance, what is your flavor, what kind of a person are you? What is a vasana? Yes, somebody was saying?
The DNA traits.
DNA. Ado paradharma, I don't know DNA. No.
It's karma.
What is a vasana?
The impressions of our previous actions.
Sorry, ma?
The impressions of our previous actions.
Vasanas are impressions of our previous actions. Yes, so you can say our action is the cause, the vasana is the effect. We can say so. Vasana is the cause, action is the effect. So it's actually a cycle. Seed, tree, seed. Chicken, egg, chicken. That kind of a vicious cycle we all are caught up in. You all are right. So perhaps this will give you an idea what a vasana is. A vasana is best described as an innate nature. Each of you have a unique nature. Vasana is also called as a certain tendencies. You may have a certain aptitude to do something in particular, a leaning or an inclination. All these put together will give an idea of what that vasana is. And all of us have got many vasanas, many vasanas. How many vasanas? You know how many vasanas you have? Countless. You can't put a number to them. Innumerable vasanas. And from the innumerable vasanas you have, there is something that is your dharma. Dharma means your essential nature. I hope you are following the line of thought. I said every human being is born with vasanas. Vasanas are your inclinations, your tendencies, your aptitude or an urge or a leaning to do something in particular. We all have, each of us have innumerable vasanas. And from that bundle of vasanas, let's say a few vasanas becomes your predominant nature, it becomes your dharma. What is dharma? In fact, dharma is that one Sanskrit word. If you pick up a Sanskrit dictionary, you will have pages and pages of interpretation or meaning to the word what dharma means in Sanskrit. So such a broad definition. But what is dharma? Dharma is one of the most beautiful ways of describing it. Sometimes language becomes a barrier. Dharma is an essential aspect of a thing. Take anything in life. It is that essential aspect of a thing with which it is what it is. I repeat, dharma is that quintessential aspect of anything with which it is what it is. You take that away, without which it is not what it is. Now let's try and understand this concept of dharma with examples until we come to putting it to ourselves. What is the dharma of bitter gourd? Karela. What do you call in Tamil? Bitterness. I will not get into that. Telugu, what do you call it? Kakarkai. Karela, the bitter gourd, the dharma, the nature of bitter gourd is bitterness, right? You wouldn't get. No, leave it on. We want light and wisdom. Putting us into darkness. Not able to see? Okay, switch it off. Is it better without it? Okay. Thank you, Datta Prasad. Any light less on me? My inner light is glowing. Okay, thank you. That also I am only saying it. So the dharma of bitter gourd is its bitterness. The dharma of sugar is, you never find that bitter gourd is sweet and sugar is bitter. You never find that, do you? Sugar is always sweet, bitter gourd is always bitter. The dharma of fire, even that small lamp which is still sustaining, if I put my finger, it is going to burn my finger, isn't it? The dharma of fire is its heat. The dharma of summer, it has to be hot. The dharma of winter, it is biting cold. The dharma of a cow is it is meek and mild. What's the dharma of a hippopotamus? Where did that thought come in? What is the dharma of hippopotamus? You have never seen hippopotamus in your life? What's the dharma of hippopotamus? Lazy fellow. Very lazy, isn't it? Tamas. What's the dharma of a frog? It has only 2 purposes or 3 purposes. 6 months in its hibernation. Or 9 months. When it rains, it comes out to eat and mate. Again go back to hibernation. That's all. Eat, sleep, mate. Life of a frog. That is, it's true to its dharma, nature. Now moving on, what's the dharma of a cheetah? It is so agile, it's the fastest land animal, right? Cheetah. What is the dharma of a tiger? It's ferocious. What's the dharma of a fox? How sure you know it? Almost I had an orchestra here. Everybody said one voice, cunning. The dharma of a fox is its cunning nature. The dharma of your pet dog is faithful. It's so loyal to you. Have you ever seen in that list of all that I mentioned, any object or being, has it not been true to its nature? Ever? Have you ever found your pet dog cunning? Have you ever found a cheetah lazy or a hippopotamus agile? Have you ever found summer to be cool or winter to be warm? Now go back to the definition. Every essential nature, dharma is everything has a nature and it's true to its nature. So, if every being on this planet has a nature and it's true to it, so should you and I have a nature and we too must be true to it, isn't it? Isn't it imperative that we too must follow the line? We must fall in line with nature. Are we not? Are we different from any of these creatures? Are we also not part of creation? Yes, we are. Doesn't it become our duty to find out what our dharma is and be true to it? Sadly, this is not taught. It should be taught when you're young. Now a little too late. But better late than never. But what is your vasanas? What is your dharma? I have so many vasanas. Of that vasanas, there is something that is my core vasanas, my core personality. So, is your vasana for business? Is your vasana for medicine? Is your vasana for what? Philosophy? Is your vasana for art? Is your vasana to become a chartered accountant? Still lingering, பரவாயில்ல கன்சிடர் பண்ணலாம். ஒரு ட்ரை கொடுத்துடுங்க. ஒரு எக்ஸெப்ஷன் உள்ள போங்க. So there is a famous verse in the Gita which we all will surrender. Throughout these next 2 days, including today, I will surrender to the authority, I will surrender to the text, to the Shastras, to bring out the truth. Very famous verse from the third chapter, 35th verse, which says, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushthitat swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. Better is swadharma. Swadharma is one's own duty, though devoid of merit. This is the point you got to note. Better is swadharma, your own duty, though devoid of merit, than paradharma, the duty of another well discharged. It's better for me to be in my own swadharma than being in a paradharmic field. He says further, better is death in swadharma. I rather die being a philosopher, which is my swadharma, than trying my hands at business or art or accountancy or something else, because I need to have livelihood. I am not able to have a livelihood, meet my ends. I am not able to put bread and butter on my table. So what should I do? Try something else. He says better to die in swadharma, because paradharma is fraught with fear. Don't ever think, don't ever dare get into a field which is not your dharma, which is not your nature. Para means something which is not yours, another's. Swa means one's own. So the first thing one must do in life is to choose a field which is according to your own nature, which is your swa dharma. You should advise your children, perhaps your grandchildren, that they must look into themselves and find out what is their dharma. And you are born with it, and that dharma will remain with you until you die. You can't change it. So don't think of tampering that DNA. Somebody said DNA, no? Don't tamper the DNA. You tamper DNA, you are tampering with death. You are asking for trouble. So you must choose a field that you are designed for, to be born for. Now, why does he say it's such strong words to say it is better to die in swadharma Why does it say? What is the benefit of being in a Swadharmic field? Any thoughts?
When you do your Swadharma, you love what you do.
Right? You enjoy, is your passion.
Happy and at peace.
You will be happy, you will be peaceful.
Possibilities of excelling in that.
You will certainly excel because you are doing something you enjoy doing it.
Dedicate yourself.
You will give your heart and soul to it because you find comfort in doing it. Very good. Anything else? You will remain to be true to yourself above all, as Shakespeare says, this above all. To thine own self be true, and it must follow as night the day thou canst not then be false to any man. You must be true to yourself, forget anybody else. So by being in a Swadharmic field, this is what will happen. When you are in a Swadharmic field, there is a natural flow. You are going along the grain, as they say. You will go in a natural order because you are doing something which you are destined to do, which you are born to do, which you have to do. So it's a natural flow from within you to do it, isn't it? There's a natural affinity to it. So there is that natural flow. And since you're doing something which is innately in you, there is no internal friction, there is no resistance. There is no questions being asked from within, am I doing the right thing? There is no question from within. There is such comfort, there is total cooperation from your entire personality because you're doing something which you are designed for. And as you all have rightly said, there's immense satisfaction. I don't know, I don't think you can ever compare the amount of satisfaction I have in being in the field which I am. I was just telling them this morning when I sat with the books, I sat at 10 o'clock. I only got disturbed with a call at 1:20 when I was called and said, are you coming home for lunch? Oh, is it? Or lunchtime? Oh, at close to 3.5 hours, I was just completely lost. Every word was being split, hair split, like an open heart surgery I was doing. Just trying to play with the Shastras, understand, decode, find it. And it's not something new. For over 3 decades I have been doing it, and every time you plunge into it, it's like electrocution. You get electrocuted, you know. Ooh. There's so much life in these Shastras. Why am I doing it? There's such satisfaction. Why am I doing it? It is my dharma. I am true to it. I'm not doing for your sake. I'm not doing for bread and butter. In fact, if I don't do it, I die. This is me. So you should always function in a field which is designed for you. Ultimately, you will excel. It may be challenging. So don't get into a field which is not your Swadharma. That's the first and the most important point you all must take a note of. Just because it's convenient. My father is running a business, therefore it's very easy for me to, he'll put another chair in a cabin in his office and I go and occupy the chair. All the hard work he has done, I'll only have to carry on. I learned the process of doing the business because it's within the family, they'll accept mistakes also. It's easy for me to get on with it. No. But if I have to find a way into a path which is my nature, I better get there than something convenience. Never ever do that. Because it's fraught with fear. I'll give 2 examples. Imagine you're driving your car and imagine the handbrake is on. You forgot to release the handbrake. What would happen? Either the car does not move or it is moving with great difficulty because there's a constant inner friction which causes a lot of wear and tear, and if you're not mindful, it will cause a lot of damage. So any movement also happens with great difficulty because there's a friction. So what is handbrake here referring to? Paradharma. The handbrake is paradharma. The second example is, I'm sure you've all heard this terminology in aeronautical engineering. They call the terms as headwind and tailwind. What is headwind and tailwind? When the wind is in the direction of the flight, they call it as tailwind. Because the wind is along the tail, it's going along the direction of the flight. But when the flight is flying against the wind, it's called headwind. So it could be the same flight. Let's say a flight from Hyderabad to Delhi takes 2 hours. The same flight, the same weight, the same captain, everything same, from Delhi to Hyderabad takes 1 hour 50 minutes or 1 hour 45 minutes. Why is there a 15 minutes in flying time is a substantial distance, considering the flight is flying at a cruising altitude with a speed of over close to 800 to 1000 kilometers an hour. That's a lot of distance covered in 15 minutes. But the difference is because they say it is because of headwind or tailwind. So headwind is, what is headwind? Swadharma, na? Headwind is paradharma, tailwind is swadharma. So you can put your tails up and start acting. Tails up, we can say. So the first thing you must do is you must choose a field of activity which is according to your own swadharma. Now you must also take a note, how does vasana translate itself into action? Any vasana, every vasana that you have, there is this chronology, there is this order how the vasana manifests into action. First, the vasana, you do not know whether you have a vasana or not until a thought appears in your mind. Or actually the thought appears in your intellect, actually, to be precise. So the thought comes in your intellect, and that thought becomes a desire in the mind, and the desire becomes an action in the body. Now let's say first, when this invitation came to you through your well-wishers, or you heard somewhere about these lectures, when the world enters into you through a stimuli, you got an invitation. What happened? There was an interest that aroused in you, right? Ah, that's interesting. Let me go and see what it is. So you planned yourself, you blocked your day and say, I should get there. So the vasana in you got triggered. The stimuli triggered with your vasana. Since you all had a vasana, you all shared an interest to it, it manifested as a thought, then there is a desire, okay, it's time for me to get to the lecture, and the result is physically you're sitting here, action, you're sitting and you're a part of this discussion. How did this all happen? Because there's a vasana in you. So the vasana, thought, desire, action. Yesterday most of you were here. Why were you not in the cricket stadium watching the match? At the same time the match was going on, not far away from here. Either you may say, sir, I have no vasana to go to the ground and watch the match. Or you may say, I have the vasana, but this is a priority than watching the match. So the vasana either is there, or you have not given a importance to the vasana. The result is it did not manifest as a thought, it did not express into an action, it did not fructify into an action. So everything in life is a play of your vasanas. Vasana, thought, desire, action. And if you are in a swadharmic field, you will create an environment where you will fructify your vasanas. So everything, in fact, vasana is the most strongest. And if you are very clear with the vasana, that vasana will fructify as If I have a vasana to be punctual, what would happen? I have a thought to be disciplined. I have a desire to be disciplined. I live a disciplined life. How does it end up being disciplined? From the desire, thought and vasana. So I have established the first aspect, how you must choose the field of activity. Are you all with me? I don't see many S's. All with me? Right. Now, moving on. Next is the most important, is the mode of conduct. Having chosen the right field, considering that you have chosen the right field, you have made the right choice, that I have taken the right, it's like you are at a V. You must make, am I to go left, am I to go right? Am I to do this or am I to do that? Oh, I have to go here. I have made the right choice. Now, rest of it is how well you conduct yourself in the field you have chosen. It's not about taking the right road to the destination. You must drive safely to reach the destination. So the mode of conduct, having chosen the right field, it's important how you conduct yourself. And what is it that determines your mode of conduct? Rest of your life you are dealing with that conduct. In the beginning you make the choice of the field. Rest of your life you are checking how you are conducting yourself. How I conduct myself when I am in public space. How I conduct myself when I am with myself. There has to be a certain decorum. And I have to be true to myself. I don't have to put on an act. How I carry myself, how I conduct myself, how I perform my actions. Now, what is it that determines how you conduct yourself? In fact, your whole spiritual transformation is in this area. Your whole journey is here. First is only academic. The rest is all the hard work. Academic is to choose Swadharma. The rest of it is hard work. So as I have said, I want to light that lamp of wisdom in you all. And you know how am I doing it? By making you all think, by awakening your intellect, by pausing. I am taking you along the journey every minute of the way. You can choose to switch off, that button you have got. But to my knowledge, I don't think anybody has switched off yet. There are times fuse goes off, no? Flickering, that happens. Then I say, okay, this person is out. Ushama is thinking of something else. Okay, I told the lady to make chutney for dosai. I hope she doesn't make that chutney. Sorry, Ushama. And then I come here, this he has gone off. I told that office person to put the document in my file. I hope it's there. Tomorrow I'm directly going for the thing. I hope it's there in the file. Suddenly the thought goes off. I know he is off. I'll look somebody else. Suddenly Suresh is staring at me. That means he's also busy with his CA accounts. Numbers are, clouding his intellect. By far I see you all are very receptive. So by making you all think, by asking you all questions, by activating your intellect, I am lighting the lamp of wisdom. This is not easy. It will take time. I may not cover that much text, but that's far more effective than me just vomiting all that I know onto you all and say burden you all. That will not work. Come back to the question. I was only giving you some time. Abhishek, sir, tell me, what determines the mode of conduct, sir? You have been an architect for the last 20-25 years, but have you not become Are you the same all through your last 25 years of your business as an architect?
You evolve as a person. I mean, that is a journey how everybody goes through. Probably stage one, it's in different stages all throughout. I mean, that is how I can sum it up.
You evolve, yes. Each one evolves in your own field. You mature. But I can't expect from you the technical answer because you're not a student of this knowledge. But I'm with you. You mature as a person. The field has not changed. You're not changed your profession. You will never change for the rest of your life. But you're not the same what you offered. You may be doing the same drawing. You may be thinking the same field. But the clarity, the quality that you produce is of a different caliber. So, in life, in your spiritual personality, in order to produce the quality of actions, what is that which determines your conduct? Ramji? It is your gunas. The gunas are your mental temperaments. Your mental temperaments known as the sattva, rajas, tamas. So the sattva, rajas, tamas is the entire field of your spiritual journey. Your spiritual journey begins from tamas to rajas, rajas to sattva, and then reach a state of trans sattva, transcend sattva, guna atita. You go beyond the gunas. So if I were to have a board, it's like a light which passes through the prism. I don't want it swinging. Suddenly it started swinging. You also want me to swing? I'm stuck like this because I have to finish my diagram. Until that swing stops, I can't move my hand. I'll lose my focus. That's my weakness. Enapa? What's going on? Still swinging. Don't touch it, no? Otherwise, take a tape and seal this side. I rather sweat than getting disturbed. I don't mind shedding a sweat or two, but I don't want to get distracted. Datta, take a tape tomorrow and tape the front side for me. I don't want draft coming this year, okay? So if light, when it passes through that prism, you got the vibrant colors of the violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. The expression of light, that splash of light is when that colorless light passes through the prism. Similarly, when that unconditioned Atman or the self, when it comes to the prism of the sattva, rajas, tamas, that creates the individuality that is you and me. Atman has no identity. That Atman which creates an identity is when that Atman expresses through the prism of the gunas of sattva, rajas, tamas. There is Sridhar, there is Suresh, there is Harish, there is you and me. So each individual, each of us, all of us are a combination of the three gunas of sattva, rajas, tamas. Now, the third chapter, the 5th verse, he says, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krat karyate hyavasha karma sarva prakriti jair gunaihi. It's all prakriti. It's all a play of prakriti, nature, he says. None can remain inactive even for a moment. All are made to act. Hyavashaha, helplessly. You and I, all of us are acting helplessly because of the qualities. What are the qualities? Gunas, born of Prakriti. Prakriti is nature. What was the interpretation of the word Vasana? We said your innate nature. Your Vasanas, your nature expresses as your Gunas. And these play of gunas has determined and created Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram api mam vidya kartaram avyayam. The fourfold caste, the caste system, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, the Vaishya, Shudra, the fourfold caste was created by me according to the differentiation of the gunas. So the four classifications of people are not based on their vocation, is based on their nature. People don't understand it. So they could be Brahmana sitting here, they could be Shudra sitting here. What makes you a Brahmana or Shudra is not where you are born into, it's not what family you are born into, what temperament you are born with. Like I am born into a Vaishya family, our whole families, all my cousins all are into businesses. But I am the only one who is into this study of Shastras from the very first ray of action I think of consciously doing, I have been doing this. How is it possible? Born into a business family, I am doing Brahmic study. It is because of my gunas, nothing to do with where am I born, nothing to do with my parentage. Don't trust me, hear from the Lord's mouth. Lord himself says, so all of us are combination of these three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. The lowest of them is tamas. Don't worry, all of us have all three of them. What differentiates all of us is the permutation and combination. How much of each guna determines what you are. So a Shudra is one who is predominantly tamasic and rajasic, very less of sattva is a Shudra. And as the permutation combination shifts in favor of sattva, rajas and tamas subsides, when sattva increases to the premium, you become a Brahmana. So predominant sattva, you are a Brahmana, predominant tamas, you are a Shudra. Vaishya and Kshatriya. Kshatriya is more rajasic, Vaishya is predominantly tamasic. Now what is tamas? I hope you all are with me. I'm trying to, it's like I'm building a block. Step by step I'm taking it ahead. What is tamas? Sleep. Tamas is laziness, inactivity, not acting. Tamas is indolence. Tamas is heedlessness. You don't heed, you don't care. You don't care for the actions, nor you care for your consequence of actions. I must go to the hall. I don't want to miss. Are you mindful where you park the car? How did you park the car? Did you block somebody else's pathway? Are you obstructing anybody else? Are you conscious of it? Heedless, I don't care. I need to go there, I will go there. I don't matter how I go there, I will go there. That kind of a careless, heedlessness. Also an attitude to procrastinate. We keep procrastinating, keep postponing things into future. Pakla, panidla, pola, all future tense only. Choose them, chase them. There is no now. This moment, no. All future tense. Future tense is tamas. So on the tense, life length. There shouldn't be the tense in your life. Now, this moment. You want to get into the glory of action, do it now. I'm building the block. You're going to the rooftop already. The problem with too much knowledge is the problem. I'm just building foundation. He's gone to the penthouse already.
Tamas is also ignorance.
Tamas is ignorance, indeed, yes. Copy பண்ணீங்களா note? First point அதான் இருக்குங்க. Tamas is ignorance, laziness. What is Rajas?
Desire.
Huh?
Desire.
Desire என்ன?
Asha.
Huh? ஆசை. ஆசைனா என்ன? How can you say desire is Rajas? எப்படி சொல்றீங்க அது? How are you saying it? Can you speak a little louder unless you can pass the mic to him? Yeah, please.
Yeah, Rajas Guna is something more on working on desire, results, fruits.
Working on desire is result oriented, fruit oriented. What got you also is desire for philosophy, no? Is Rajas, hai? Your desire to be here. As Rajas சொல்றீங்களா? I'm unnecessarily confusing him and you all. See, Rajas is nothing but Rajas is desire. Rajas is the agitations which produce out of your desired actions. Any egoistic desired action is bound to produce mental agitations. Remember this thumb rule in life. You're acting with a selfish desire. If your actions are driven with the purpose of satisfying your selfish, egoistic desires and purposes, it is bound to create mental ripples of mental agitations. It's bound to agitate you. So Rajas is a state of mind. Obviously you'll understand these are mental temperaments. So Rajas is a state of mind which is agitated, which is lobha. Lobha is greed. And greed comes when you act on your desire. When do you develop greed? When does one develop greed? I am not content with this hall. I am not content with the audience. I want more audience. Greedy. Hey, mind, you must put your mind in its place. Be content with the audience you have. Give your best to it. Why do you want more? Santrupti liya unaka. I must talk to myself if my mind asks for more. I want one ashram I've got. I want to have another ashram. I can have that greed in spiritual will also. Swami who goes around the world having 108 ashrams, private jet, hopping from one ashram to the other. Periya empire. You get it? But when does one develop greed?
When he is not contented.
Huh? When does one develop? When does desire become greed? Yes, Setuji? When your desire is fulfilled, when your desire is met, sit next to Setuji only, ma. Pull a chair and sit next to him, ma. That's correct. So, when your desire is met, that is when you want more, you become greedy. You know, I don't have time, but I will share this. There's this, one of the colleges when I was having a management talk. I don't want to mention the name of the college also. Then you'll say, oh, that person, nosy attitude. So in Twin Cities, there was a prominent management college. And it was a training session for them. And after that, one of the girls said, sir, I want to have a private conversation with you. I said, please, I have nothing private, but I can talk to you in private. We sat outside the hall and we spoke. She said, sir, I have a problem. What is the problem? I have a boyfriend. Oh, boyfriend problem? No. Everything fine with a boyfriend. I am in Hyderabad, boyfriend is in Delhi. Okay. That distance is good, I said. Mentally, I tell myself. Because the moment you get close to that, the problem starts. So he is peaceful there, you are peaceful here. No. Then she said, I was almost joking with her. She said, no, sir, please don't joke. I have a serious problem. Tell me what it is. She said, sir, I have my boyfriend there. He is very capable, very eligible. I have no complaints about him. But my mind says, I must look for a better fellow. Huh? said, what? I said, have I heard you rightly? You just now said he is smart, he is capable, he is very eligible, there is nothing wrong with him, I have no qualms, no complaints against him, but still my mind says, look for somebody else, there might be somebody better in the market, no? Look at how your mind can play tricks with you. This is greed. Greed is not about avarice of money. Mind can play greed of lack of contentment in anything. I can be greedy, I want more wisdom. That also is papam. That also is sinful. Be content. At this point, I have put in this much sadhana, this much wisdom I have got. I am grateful for that. I work more, I will get moksha also one day, which is what I want. Why am I not having moksha? Na? Tappu. Be content. So that greed, rajas, is desirous, selfish, and a state of mind which is restless. You can't sit quiet. That disturbed, agitated state of mind is rajas. I got to move on. Sattva. Sattva is the pinnacle of human mind. A state of mind where it is perfectly poised, equipoised, equanimous, undisturbed, established, mature. A meditative mind. A mind which doesn't vacillate, doesn't oscillate. It's at its place until it's told to move. Until it is directed, it will not move. That capacity of a mind which is contemplative, meditative is sattva. Now, am I producing all of this from my own hat of wisdom? No. Here you go. In the 14th chapter, 17th verse, he says, Sattvat samjayate jnanam rajaso lobha yevacha pramada mohau tamasaha bhavato jnanamevacha. From sattva arises jnanam, knowledge, wisdom. From rajas, greed, lobha. From tamas arises heedlessness, delusion, avidya, ignorance. I have spelt it all. I am only trying to tell you this is authority. You want to go back, please fall back on the authority. I have already spelled it out for you. This is from sattva arises this, from rajas arises this, from tamas arises this. Now, how does this sattva, rajas, tamas, how do these people look at life? One facet, one aspect of it I'll see. And then I'll give you another dimension of it. The one dimension of it. Now, listen to the 3rd chapter, 12th verse. He says, Ishtan bhogan hivo devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha tairdattana pradayaibhyaha yo bhungte stena yevasaha. Now the first half of the verse, in the context, he says, verily the gods nourished by sacrifice will give you the desired enjoyments. Don't worry of that. The second half of the verse, he says, he who enjoys what is given by them without having offered to them is indeed a stenaha. Apradaya. Apradaya means he who, without having offered back to them. When you receive any benefit from anybody, what is the least that you can have? When you receive anything from anybody, it could be from your parents, it could be from the society, it could be from your guru, it could be from this classroom you're receiving something. Don't tell me you said free, no? No? You've got a funny mind. You better be very clear what you want. Huh? You people advertise free classes, then what are you asking? Nah, onnu kekla pa. Enak onnu venda. I don't want anything. But I'm just saying, when you receive anything, when anybody gives anything to you, they don't lay conditions. When your parents have nurtured and brought you up and given you all what they could, in their best ability they have nurtured and brought you up, did they lay any conditions when they gave all that they given you? When you give that to your children, do you lay any conditions? But as a recipient I'm talking, when you receive, what should be the attitude of the recipient? You must first and foremost, do not take it for granted. Just because it's coming, don't take that for granted. Because it's coming, we have taken for granted. And since you and I, one who takes it for granted never is grateful. So here he says, he who enjoys what is given by the gods, means provided by nature, by providence, by whatever be the source of benefaction. You are benefited by that source of benefaction, but you enjoy it without having offered back to them, without giving any dakshinam, adakshinam, a guru dakshinam. What guru dakshina I can give to my parents? What dakshinam can I give for my parents for all what they're given? Can I ever pay back all what they have done to me? Can I ever pay back? Can you ever pay back? Can I start taking the best computer, the fastest system, and start putting a mat to all what they have done to me in the present terms and conditions, not those days of calculation, and settle them all today? Impossible. I can't. But one who takes it for granted without having the attitude of paying back, such a person is a thief. You walk into the store or a supermarket just because it is beautifully arrayed or displayed, you pick up what you want and walk out. You will be caught and imprisoned because they call you a thief. You can't say, oh, you just put it there, I just picked up. No, you can't do that. You can't just receive anything for just because it's provided and not pay back. Stenaha. Who are the class of people? Such class of people are tamasic people. The next very verse, the 13th verse, he says, Yajna Shisthashina Santaha Muchyante Sarva Kilbhishaihi Bhunjate Te Tvagham Papaha Ye Pachantyatma Karanat. Atma Karanat. They are one class of people who only cook for themselves. I earn, I work hard, I earn, it is my money. Don't even think of it. You know, trespassing, theriyuma? Don't ever come near it. In the West, even if you park your car in outside somebody's house, he'll come and say, hey, you are parking in front of my house, waiting. Why are you waiting? Get lost. That is my space. It's a government space, public road, but you can't stop in front of his house. This is not designated space for you to wait for somebody. Go and wait somewhere else. That kind of possessiveness, proprietorship. But here he says, let's read the second half of the verse. Who cook for their own sake eat sin. If I work hard, if I want to keep the fruits and rewards for myself and my family, if that is the thought that it was only we with me and nobody else, that attitude of not wanting to think of others' well-being, such people, they don't eat what they cook. What do they eat is papam. So if you don't have that spirit of giving or sacrificing or thinking in the larger interest, you will only eat sin. That is a shapam. It's a curse. Watch out. The bhayam irkano. When you listen to the shastras, you will shudder at every wrong thought, at every wrong action, because you will pay the price. You cook for yourself, you eat sin. Rajasic people. Sattva bhunjate yajnashishthashina santah. Yajnashishthashina means the sattvic people eat the remnants of sacrifice. Remnants means breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs. The entire loaf is served. While you are serving, some breadcrumbs all fall off. They are happy with the breadcrumbs. Remnants of sacrifice. So they lead a life of giving. They become they not only just give, they become an embodiment of giving. They become a symbol of life of service and sacrifice. Every thought and action is done with the spirit of giving. You live a life of giving. Whatever life provides you, you're content with that. Such a person are free from all sins. No question of sin. So So sattvic people eat the remnants of sacrifice, rajasic people cook for themselves, eat sin, tamasic people enjoy without offering back to them, they are thieves. So find out which category you belong. Examine, self-examination. Out of the 100 actions you perform, a percentage of actions are rajasic, tamasic, sattvic. You can't escape that fact. Everything that you do is a mirror of these three gunas. You can't escape the fact. You got to be self-introspective to find out. You may be having 40% tamas. So 40% tamas will reflect in everything that you do. 40% rajas will reflect. 20% sattva will reflect. So as you spiritually evolve, the sattva keep increasing. So the more sattvic you are, it's very safe to say you are that spiritual, that more spiritual you are. A similar thought of how these three kinds of people is brought about by a very beautiful poem by William Cooper. William Cooper writes a beautiful poem, The Pineapple and the Bee. The gist of that poem, I don't have the luxury of time to explain the poem, but at the end of it he says, our dear delights are often such, exposed to view but not to touch. Because the poem talks about a pineapple pudding in a frame, and a passing bee is looking for crannies in the frame. It's finding an avenue to get into the pudding. It wastes half the day and then trims its flight another way. And then he talks of a man looking at a beautiful lady in a chariot, and he also talks of a lady looking at an apparel in a showroom, but the cruel glass between, he says. Wow, what a beautiful gown. But what is separating me and the gown is the glass. And he says, the cruel glass in between, he says. And at the end of it, he says, our dear delights are often such, exposed to view but not to touch. The sight the foolish heart inflames, we long for pineapples in frames. With hopeless wish, one looks and lingers, one breaks the glass and cuts his fingers. But they who truth and wisdom lead can gather honey from a weed. It's just music. Yesterday somebody was saying, let the music begin. This is music. Sheer music, philosophy and poetry to its pinnacle. Beauty. With hopeless wish, one looks and lingers. Tamasic people, nothing else to do. I wish I have that. I hope I have that. Only asha. Moghasha, mogha karmana, mogha jnana vichetasha. Only vain hopes, vain actions, vain life. All your life you're living in hopes and aspirations. Wanting this, wanting that. You don't want to do anything to get there. You live in a dream realm, never with the reality. So with hopeless wish, one looks and lingers, one breaks the glass and cuts his fingers. Rajasic fellows, they pay the price of trying to play with the law. They try to break the law and pay the price of life because they're desperate. They can't hold on to the pressure of desire, compelling them to greed, obsession. So they will do something. Let me get the project done. Grease the palm and get it done. Under table. I want that project at any cost. I will find a way to get it done. And then I pay the price because I have fallen a prey to the greed or desire. But there rare few are the people, but they who truth and wisdom lead, even you can find the honey in a weed. It's poetic, not literally please. There is no honey in a weed. It's so poetically saying, even you lead a life of truth and satyam, even in the most simplest of lives, whatever you do, you will find your life is blessed. You find your life is, you revel in peace and bliss and happiness. Now this is one flavor. Are you all with me? This is one flavor of the gunas. Now another angle to the three gunas, I'm still with the second concept, which is the mode of conduct. In the whole chart of the glory of action, this is the quintessential aspect. Rest of all are all appendages. They all hold on to this essential aspect. So if we are spending more time here, it is justifying. Don't worry. The rest 2 days we will cover the other two other aspects. Now a new angle, a different angle to the three gunas. Now, Rajas is a state, as we understand, Rajas is a state of mind where you can classify people are very active. So Rajas is where they are very dynamic, they are running around, they are very industrious, they are very productive. As a result of which they are very productive, they are very prosperous. But the Rajasic people are not peaceful. They are very mentally agitated, right? They are disturbed people. They don't sleep. So Rajas is a class of people, a section of the society. They are prosperous and not peaceful. They have all the wealth in the world, but they don't have sleep in their own homes. They have sleepless nights. You don't know who don't sleep. I know, because they come and tell me I don't sleep. I know who sleeps, who doesn't sleep. That's the data I keep processing all the time. Oh, this fellow started sleeping. Okay, now this fellow has stopped sleeping now. That is our headache. I don't know why they come and tell us all this. So Rajas is prosperous and peaceful. Most of the Western countries are very prosperous. They are advanced. We get excited seeing a tunnel. 100 years ago, they have bored tunnels. You excited seeing a skyscraper? They have skyscrapers 200 years ago. What pretty skyscraper? You're getting excited. 10 floors you put up, you the whole talk of the town. Headlines in the paper. So we have now, still we are developing as a country. The eastern countries are still developing. The West, they have seen the glory of material success. So they are all advanced, materially successful and not peaceful. Now, tamas is where people are peaceful, but at the cost of productivity. They are not prosperous, they are not peaceful. They are not productive, they are not wealthy, they are peaceful. You go to any villages, what do you find? Actually laid back. I remember the ashram. Our ashram was just, we could hear the railway track, because 10-minute walk from the ashram was a railway track in Maharashtra. And sometimes we had to go to that village there to get some work done and things. Midday morning, our karma time used to be 11 to 1. As a time you can get activity done. We go 10, 11 o'clock, these fellows, village people have come on to the railway platform. It's not a major station, it's a local station. So there is a satsang going on. Local politics, all the village politics, everything discussion there. On the platform, with their tone tattered, I don't know when did they put the clothes for laundry. Passing by only you stink. Village, what do you expect from them? BD in their hand, discussion going on. Here discussion, midday, 11 o'clock in the morning, there is a big debate going on. I don't know what they're discussing. Not that, 5 years I was there, 5 years, same thing going on. Nothing has changed. And you go into, and we used to go into their homes and see, because the servants used to come from the village, we used to go and see what is their level of hygiene, whether they have the roofs over their head, whether they're educated, whether they have clothing, whether they're vaccinated. So some of us used to volunteer to take care of the needs of the servants' families. There's a big, deep hole, maybe not as big as this tile hole, but half the tile hole, there's a big hole in the roof. Monsoon soon approaching, you know how monsoon is in Maharashtra. Not worried to cover that, that fellow is having a busy meeting there. We are worried, ashram worried, water seeping going on, that is going on, this is living, we are painting here, we are doing that work, that fellow is no worry at all. Relatively, that fellow is very peaceful, no worry, shantam. But that shantam is coming out of tamas, sadly. Tamas also produces peace. You and I should not seek that peace, please. No bargaining here. Huh? This is only for information. Tamasic fellows are peaceful but not productive. From there, few hours, you go to Mumbai, how it is there. My first experience of travelator in Mumbai. You know travelator? You don't know travelator, sir? Escalator, travelator. In the airports, there you stand there, it will move. So first time when I went to Mumbai, the local train I got into, I didn't know there was a travelator, but I experienced travelator. I had to get down at the station. When I decided to get down, I was automatically outside the railway station. Automatically I was transported. Right in the aisle, up and down, everywhere, outside. Very nice pa, so beautiful it is. Busy, running. Few hours away we are from Mumbai. That fellow is having a round table conference on the platform. 2 hours we drive, hush bus, no space, no room. Everybody busy. They have lost their peace. But yet Bombay is the financial capital of the country. High-rise buildings, asphalted roads, busy. Everything is market money. Time is money there. Here, time comes to a halt. Maja. Tamas and Rajas. Now, Sattva is where you come to that rare state where you are prosperous and peaceful. The whole world, I must tell you, is languishing between Rajas and Tamas. The entire humanity. I'm not making a joke. If you look at certain advanced countries, for example, if you take Japan, they take perfection to a point of fault. It's it may be a joke for us, but we are dreaming of a bullet train in the country yet to come, right? And they are the pinnacle of bullet train and technology has been there for decades with Japan. And if a train arrives even 10 seconds late, there is an official apology and there's a refund of ticket. Intercity, not interstation. Intercity, for example, if you are coming from Vizag to Hyderabad, the train will arrive within seconds of the scheduled time of arrival. If it's 10 seconds late, the station, the driver and the company will apologize to the passengers and refund their ticket money. But 10-20 seconds late. That's the kind of efficiency, that's the kind of perfection we're talking about. Admirable, isn't it? The whole country moves like that. Everything that they do is perfection. Anything made in Japan. Have you not seen over the years when we did not have access to it, and if we pick up something made in Japan, we knew it stood out. It stood the test of time, isn't it? But yet, Japan for not long ago was the suicide capital of the world. Not long ago. I think Korea just took over then. Suicide capital of the world. What does it convey? Sridharji, where would you classify Japan, sir? You're with me, sir? Where do you classify Japan? I don't think you agree with me. Prosperity but not peaceful. So which classification are they? Rajasic people. They may be more sattvic people in Japan also. I'm not dismissing, I'm just analyzing. Tamas is I take standard examples. Tamas, but perhaps you can take Bhutan. Such pristine beauty. Mountains and valleys, almost I think they are the zero carbon emission. Beautiful, pristine nature. But you don't know network. Daga, potholes. No proper road you get there. No proper facility, no proper infrastructure, no technology, nothing. Peaceful, but not productive. Tamasic. Sattva is a state where you have both peace and prosperity. You are dynamic and yet peaceful. They say, so as I said, humanity is languishing between Tamas and Rajas. Now, Rajasic people, they are acting, right? Those of you who can't see it, I am reading it for you all. Rajas, they produce action, but action produces agitation, right? So they want peace. What do? You are acting, you are agitated, stressed out. What do you want? Peace of mind. What do? You get to tamas. You drop action, you find peace. You want both, no? You want production and you want peace, but you only have one. Rajasic fellows, they're acting, they're stressed, they want peace. What do? They drop action, they find peace, shanti. Weekends, vacations, thank God it's Friday, celebration. The whole world is celebrating. Pah. No more work. Anti-Vedanta. You must find peace and happiness in the garb of work. There's no happiness away from work. Now, when they drop action, what happens? They lost productivity. Again they get back to productivity, but lost peace of mind. What do you do again? Again go back to tamas. In the Madhuri cycle going on. For a vicious cycle is for Bhuchakram, Vishnu Chakram. Humanity is stuck in it. Hardly anybody thinks of getting out of it and get to Sattva. Nobody ever escapes that vicious cycle and gets to life of Sattva. Rare, very, very rare indeed. So if you want to truly get into the glory or the beauty or the grandeur of action, is to get to that sattvic action. And true sattva, as they say, your body must be in the law of dynamics, but while your mind is in the law of statics. This is a law. Your body must be active. Your mind must be calm and mature and balanced. This is the test. Know what's happening? Your body is in law of statics, mind the law of dynamics. எங்கெங்கோ போயிடுத்து மைண்டு அப்பப்பா ஒரு வேர்ல்டு டூரே ஆயிடுத்து. இங்கே உட்காந்துட்டு நீங்கள் எங்கே போயிட்டீங்க மைண்டு சொல்லாதீங்கோ, எங்கெங்கோ போயிடுத்து தெரியும் எனக்கு. மைண்ட் இஸ் டைனமிக். த லா இஸ் லிட்டில் ஷஃபிள் அட் தட் லா. பாடி கம்ஃபர்டபுளாக உட்காந்துங்க, மைண்ட் ஹஸ் கான் டாஸ். உல்டா சார், ஃபிலாசபி உல்டா அதை ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணுவோம். ஸோ த மைண்ட் மஸ்ட் பி இன் த லா ஆஃப் statics while the body is in law of dynamics. And when you do that, you practice this great saying by the great Swami Ramatirtha. That is when you will experience this. Intense work is rest, because your mind is always at rest. So any amount of work, you will never get tired. Intense work is rest. This indeed is a true glory of action. To be able to rise to the level of sattva where you perform action, but you never get tired. Now, one last question I'll ask you all. How do you get to this state of sattva? My question is, we all need to get to the state of sattva, right? But the question is, how do you get to this state of sattva? I don't want to answer now. Think about it. Come back with an answer tomorrow. I'll take you from there further into the glory and grandeur of action. Okay? Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.